Hello, I normally do not make videos like this, but I have a fever, so I'm feeling a bit strange and I'm doing something strange. For some months ago, I started looking into how to modify the code of the game, and I learned a lot about how the game works, specifically the queen. So the basic strategy for fighting the queen is that you push her back. Oh, you push her back, and this the act of pushing her back, of making her dodge, sets up her pattern so that she's more consistent. Then after she has dodged, then you keep this distance, or keep this distance, and when she jumps, you swing the sword. As simple as that. This distance, then swing when she jumps. If she collides with anything, then you have to make her dodge again. If she makes any kind of attack, then you have to make her dodge again. So this strategy is very rigid. It works for one specific case, the case where you make her dodge, and she's not interrupted by anything, and you are not too harried by other enemies. Oh, too late, a little bit late. So that's the basic strategy. So by looking at the code and by making a mod, I have found out more ways to kill the queen. Well, I expanded the strategy, so now there's not only one specific case where I can confidently kill her. There are 3 cases. So it might not sound like a big change, but I think it's a big improvement. I wanted to make a video about the process and about what I've learned, but yeah, I'm not. I dislike making videos, it turns out, and I haven't really made that many videos in my life, but I feel like I've made enough by now. So instead I made a document describing the strategy for fighting the Red Queen. And this document is 3,000 words long, but you can skip much of it, and I try to reference videos so that you can actually see what's going on and what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So the document will be linked to in the description. There's a Google Drive that I'm linking to. Yeah, and that's what I wanted to say really. This is not the best way to present something like this. I should have made like a proper video with good editing and stuff, but that's not happening. And it sounds like I'm depressed or something. I'm not really. I'm fine. I just don't want to make a video. Yeah. So I think I'll be spending less time on Amorphous. There are other things I want to do, and I feel like I've achieved much of what I wanted to. I started playing a lot of Amorphous in 2018. I played it earlier as well, but played a lot in 2018 and 19 and until present day. At some point I really enjoyed the high skill ceiling of this game. I realized that there is so much I could improve on, and I liked playing the game, so it was very rewarding to play this game and try to improve. But since it's a Flash game from 2008, and it's not the most famous, it's pretty famous, but not not the most. There are not really any good guides online, or there weren't at the time at least, and there weren't really any discussion about the game. There were some guides on how to finish the game and how the enemies work and stuff. But I'd spent so much time learning strategies and trying to optimize gameplay, and I found out that there were really no videos with good gameplay on YouTube. The first speedrun I did for fun, because it's fun to have done a speedrun and to be able to say that, hey, technically I'm a speedrunner and I technically have the world record. And then that's good. And then I kept doing it because I figured out, hey, it could be a way to attract people to this game, or to find other people who play this game. And I did speedruns and other challenges, and I very slowly gained subscribers, and very slowly found other people, very slowly found like random Reddit pages or 4chan pages where there was a mention of the game. Gradually built a community around the game. So there's the Discord server now with more than 50 people, which is not that much, but it's more than, well, I think it's a lot. Oh. And it's very nice. And people have made memes about the game. They had discussions and vented their frustrations, and I feel like I've gotten as much interest in the game as I could have hoped for. So I'm very happy with the result of all this. Yeah. Now maybe I'm making it sound like I'm going to not play the game at all, and I don't think I will keep playing the game. I just don't want to make more videos. If I could, unless there's a good reason to. Yeah. Oh, and recently, like, Gina made a whole Let's Play series of Amorphous, and it's great. He's a funny guy, and he edits out grindy bits, and really you don't need more than that to make me very happy to watch an Amorphous video. But he made a whole series where he completes the whole game. It's very good. Afterwards, he even did some speedrunning. He took the 50% glitchless third place from Cthulhusaurus Rex, which was, and it just makes me so happy that there are other people with interest in this game, and it makes me so happy when people discuss strategy. It made me so happy when Cthulhusaurus Rex congratulated him and then started theorizing about how to take the record back. It's amazing. So this video is a bit strange because it's like a Let's Play video or something where I comment as I'm playing. I haven't really commented on the gameplay, but yeah, I haven't really been focusing on the gameplay. Oh. That kind of thing is very difficult to deal with. When the torch bounces on something and then ends up in the path of a biter. I don't know if I could realistically learn to avoid scenarios like that. It would involve getting better at seeing the whole screen and then realizing that that there is some possible danger, and then I'd have to be cautious enough to make some distance in the event that torches should bounce off of something and end up in the path of something. And it sounds ridiculous. I do try to limit RNG and be able to survive consistently, but there's a limit. There's a lot of randomness in this game, so unfortunately you cannot be entirely consistent. But there's a lot of things you can do. Like you can focus on being in the middle of the board. I used to do an exercise where I try to play like this, where I just stay in the board, in the middle, in the very middle, and then don't move or not even attack unless there is some like specific reason to do so. Some very concrete reason to do so. So for example, versus torches, I would have to move away or to the edge, because torches are super dangerous. With grinders, of course, I have to move. No avoiding it. But apart from that, there's not much that you absolutely have to move for. This kind of practice I've been interested also in that in how you relate to clutters, because you end up not prioritizing killing them, just dodging the projectiles and then hoping that it dies. Or sometimes you can bounce a sharp into it or freeze it like this. Maybe it's and I can pull the other clutter into it. Like very specific situations you can kill things at a distance. I tried to kill that baby clutter there, but it didn't work. Bad planning, really. Because I wasn't even trying to hit the biter. So I wouldn't say it was a bad angle. It was a bad angle, but as a result of bad planning. So it's time to try to just hang out in the middle. Well, I had to move a little bit more than that. Oh, okay. But it's not easy. You really have to have a good understanding of where the glucose are going to be, and be able to make the minimal movements. And it's very difficult, but it's probably good practice. I don't think this is the best way to play for anyone. If you were to play perfectly, then this would probably be very good to just stay in the middle, because then you limit the randomness. And I think that in theory you could solve almost every situation by just being in the middle and doing very precise movements. But of course we are not perfect, so we have to move, and we have to sometimes we have to use the edge to despawn enemies. Long range attack. So you can, it's very fun to try to aim the acid towards, I missed. To aim the acid towards clutters. It's not a consistent strategy, because there's randomness in what angle the acid takes. But it's a real strategy, really. It can be very good. Can save you trouble. Oh. So normally, well, because I'm not perfect, it's better if I move around a lot. But I still try to keep away from the edges somewhat. I think for a beginner, like someone who's completely new, it would be fine to just spend a lot of time around the edge. Because the edge is a very powerful weapon. It's just unreliable and it can kill you. But I think the better you are, the more you have to focus on becoming more on becoming more consistent. Wow, and the grinder glitch where they don't interact with other things. Hey. Well, I survived the first torch. I think I'm happy with that. That's good enough. Good enough for me. Oh. Oi! And I noticed it's surprising. It's killing sharks fits very well with killing clutters. There's like a pattern you can do where you wait until a situation where you can make the clutter move between you and the shark, and then you push it backwards towards the shark. When it hits the shark, usually all of the babies die even, and if they don't, then you want to be moving towards the backside of the shark anyway. And when you do, the shark retracts its claws, its spikes, and you can kill it. So it's killing specifically clutters and sharks together. It fits very well, which is interesting. Another idea is that with fossils is that you like a small detail is that the angle you hit them with decides, well, partially decides what direction they move after you hit them. Ideally you would be planning ahead, thinking, do I want to, after this swing, do I want to do another swing immediately in order to hit the fossil again? And if you do, then you want to hit like that so that the fossil comes in front of you. And if you don't want to use the next swing immediately, then you do like that and then it goes away. And I really like these small details, these small optimizations. It's very specific scenarios, but if you get enough of them, then you cover a lot. And I really like that part of playing the game, or the part of finding these patterns that you can recreate and use strategically. Speaking of the angle that stuff moves when you hit them, it's a very typical thing to swing at the melty, and then the acid goes directly onto you, and you die immediately. And it's such a typical death in Amorphous, and I think I still do it. And it surprises me how often I do it. I would think that after all this time I would be better at not doing that, but for some reason I just struggle with controlling myself. It's very good to kill Meltis, but of course not if it kills you. But as I said, there's some randomness in in what direction it takes. So you can, because the problem is that if you swing at the left side of the sword, then the splat will move towards the hero, but not really, because it's also random. So it will move towards the hero, but plus some random angle between 0 and 30 degrees or something like that. It's so annoying that there's randomness in this, because if there wasn't, it will open up a lot. Like, you would be able to aim acid better, you would be able to more consistently avoid killing yourself with acid or with sharks, or making or like pulling fossils towards you. I think the game would be better if at least there were less randomness in that specific angle. Also, a different pattern that I use is simply the fossil super jump glitch, and it's obviously not intended, but it's relevant surprisingly often. Oh, is that really too close? Oh. Explosions are so big. Yeah. Oh, and AH7 requested I make a mod that just reduces the explosion radius of torches. I think that would be that could be a nice change to the game. And Katteltlem, if I'm supposed to pronounce it that way, had some suggestions about how to balance the rewards better, and I like those suggestions. I'm not sure if they aim for the right balance, but as likely as many other things, I think it's good suggestions. I implemented some of them, the ones that were easiest to implement, and I tried to improve the drone AI, but it was too much for me. The modding this game is not so easy. Making a new drone AI turned out to be more difficult than I expected. I haven't spent that much time on it, to be honest. Maybe I could do it if I actually spent more time on it. It doesn't have to be that complicated, but maybe it is because of you're working with decompiled code, and things can behave in unpredictable ways. Maybe, I'm not sure. I don't really know how this stuff works. I just figured out some things, and I've been able to make some simple mods. I don't know if you recognized what I was trying to do there, but a very cool thing you can do with Frosties is to make like, oh, not that. But you can like make it curl the other way. Or like like that one and that one. And by doing this, you make the torch take the long way around, so you make it move further. And as you can see, I'm able to move them further than if I do this, then this. When they move further, they move in a different direction. It gives you more control of the Frosty. And it's I think it's a very fun thing to do because it's kind of precise. You have to really get close to the Frosty. So it's difficult, but it's like it looks good. I like how it looks. So I end up doing it more than I really should. I end up trying to do it in situations where it doesn't help. But it's just such a satisfying thing to do. So I use it more than I should. And I can't do it very consistently. I'm not very consistent at that thing. Unfortunately. You can also do like a triple turn. That you make it turn the other way again after you've done that. Oh! After you've done that special movement. But of course that's even more difficult. I feel like I have a special way of killing clutters, and I'm not sure if it's the best way of doing it, but it comes from the idea of staying close to the middle of the screen. It's that when the clutter shows up, I pull away from it, so that I move it to, you can see I move it towards the middle of the screen, then I move in close so that I can do 2 quick strikes to remove every part of it and still be in the middle of the board, so that I'm not surprised by something on the edge. Wow, because you have to spend 2 swings to kill them, which is a lot really. It's a lot to ask for a somewhat basic enemy. So when you commit 2 swings, 2 whole swings to killing one enemy, then at least you shouldn't be doing it near the edge, because then you're spending so much time around the edge and you're doing it for well, not arguably little gain. Hey, that was nice. Oh, to kill this. Or do it like that. Okay, so first of all, okay, so there were 2 glitches involved there. The first was that when frozen amalgam thaws, then it spawns as like a whole amalgam. Like they spawn at the edge, they're quite big, even if they froze as a small amalgam. So you really want to kill the frozen amalgam, because if they thaw, then they become a big one. And the second, what was the second glitch? Oh yeah, yes, I really wanted to kill it, but I saw that I wouldn't reach it in time. So I had an idea, and I was hoping that it would work, that I would be able to kill the second Frosty after the amalgam had thawed. Because when a gloop ball freezes again shortly after thaw, then it despawns. I have no idea why. It's very strange. And it's not really useful because it's so niche. But somehow it worked in that situation. That's pretty great. also a nice thing about just playing the game and not doing a speed run or anything is that you can try out weird things, try to be extra fancy, like with the double freeze on the Amalgam. It makes the game more fun, in my opinion, when it's not so serious. Being serious is also a lot of fun, but in a different way. Speedrunning the game has been surprisingly entertaining or interesting. Because it's so exciting, and I can do many runs, and each of them are they're always very exciting. So it can be a bit tiring in the long run, but in the short run it's a lot of fun. I really despise the invincibility frames on fossils. Also on sharks, but I notice it more on fossils. The fact that after they lose their fur, they have some frames where they cannot be affected by your sword. And it's not like they cannot be damaged. Well, they cannot be damaged, but also they cannot be pushed by your sword. So they just pass through it, and it seems unnecessary. I would be fine if they just didn't take any damage. That would make a bad decision. It would make sense if a fossil didn't take any damage, like for a short, like a half a second after it has lost its fur. That's okay, and maybe it makes sense with some collisions or something. But it's very annoying that the sword doesn't affect it at all, because then it just passes right through. It's not really anything you can do about it. It's so strange that you cannot push it away, even. I think an important part of Amorphous, of playing Amorphous well, is to, and something that is important, like also early, is that you distinguish between enemies that you can push away and enemies that you cannot push away. When you start a game, you only have like Gooples and Biters and Melties and things that can be pushed away or killed. And then when the usual spawns, then the new player dies because they cannot push it away, and they stand in front of it, and then they stand in front of the Usul, and then they take one swing and it doesn't affect it much, and then they die. And then later they get like fossils and sharks, and they have more enemies that they cannot kill immediately, but at least they can push them away. But when you get Grace and Amalgam, I think that's part of the reason the Amalgam is so effective, because it's difficult to affect it. It's difficult to run away from it. Bad planning. It's difficult to run away from the Amalgam, and it's also difficult to stop it. You cannot stop it. You just have to run away. You have to make such a tight turn that you get behind it. And that's not easy. And then you just have to keep swinging at it from behind. It's not easy to make such a tight turn to get behind the Amalgam, partially because the controls of this game are unusual and people take time to get used to them. And partially because the Amalgam has a very good turning radius. So it is very difficult to get around the Amalgam, but it's sort of necessary. But the strategy for the Amalgam is the same as with as with like the principal way of killing an Usul, or a shark, or a fossil, or a biter. So many of the enemies are defeated by going behind them, or going to like the like with this biter. If I'm inside this circle and it cannot attack, like that circle that an enemy cannot go to. It's so important to find those areas and to be able to place yourself in those areas. So I feel like the Amalgam is such a good test of this, of the ability to first of all control your character properly, but also to find the safe spots. It's like because the Amalgam is a pretty normal slime creature, right? It just rolls towards something, and if it hits something, then it grows. If you strike at it, it can split. It's very like normal in some way. It's just very competent. It's good at what it's doing because it's so fast. It has such a good turning radius, and yeah, it gets big and then it splits. So I think the Amalgam is a very good boss, and it's a very good first boss, because the Queen and the Razor Queen, they are very like complicated. They have blades, and they move unlike other things. They have different patterns, different actions. Like the Queen has, what is it, 4 different actions it can take, defined in the code as actions, that it can either dodge or lunge or prowl or swing. But also each of her claws have like 3 different actions. The Razor Queen has 2 modes, and in those modes she has different actions. They are very complicated, so they are good as like final bosses. But the Amalgam is very good as a first boss, because it's like the other Gloopals, it's just more difficult. And it's very representative of Gloopals. It oh, yeah, it shouldn't hang out around the edge. I don't really know how to end this video, because as I mentioned, I'm ill. I have a fever, and that's really why I'm doing it like this, because like sometimes when you get like a fever, or if you are, I don't know, if you are very hungry or very stressed or very angry or very compassionate, I don't know. In certain situations you change a bit, and you can do other things than you normally do. And that's what this is. So I'm not really used to this. Not really sure how to end the video, maybe I just stop it right now. But it's so pleasant to be playing the game. Like I really like the concept of the game, that each enemy has very simple movements, but together they form a complex system. You can learn how each enemy moves very quickly. Like you could read it, and you, with a bit of practice, you could learn it very quickly. But the problem is that you have to combine, and you have to find a strategy for each individual Gloopal, and then you have to find out how to execute those strategies when there are other things happening. Or you can, like a more advanced step is to find ways to use Gloopals to kill other Gloopals, or find like strategies specific for certain combinations of Gloopals. And it's just so nice how simple the enemies are. They either turn left, or they turn right, or they move straight. For many enemies, that is the extent of how they can move. And it means that you get like nice straight lines and circles, especially when you want to end up in the area that the Gloopo cannot reach. You get these circles, and if you have more enemies, then you get circles and other circles. It's just like it's appealing. Like the hairless Fuzzle is very annoying because its movement is unpredictable. But it's not completely unpredictable. You know that it will either go in a straight line, or it will turn left, or it will turn right. And so you're not completely helpless. By the way, I know that my computer... that my computer mouse makes a lot of noise, and I'm sorry, but I'm not so sorry that I would do anything about it. And I guess I'm sorry for not being that sorry, I don't know. Maybe I'm not sorry at all. I think also it took me years to realize that sharks remove their spikes when you get behind them. And it's such a useful thing. It's incredibly useful. Look at this. Yeah. As long as you get behind it, it will remove its spikes. And you can kill it very quickly like that. And it took me many years to realize. And I think many people don't know that this simple trick to kill sharks. Sharks hate this one trick. And to be fair, the same trick is also hated by biters and oozles and amalgam and Fuzzles and yeah, useful in other cases as well. Oh, that was... Oh, okay. Yeah. I feel like I was blessed in the same way twice in quick succession. I think this is enough. Oh, I have been playing a lot with the Queen. In order to practice with the Queen, I've often done it like this, so that I include all of the normal enemies, but not the grinder, because if the grinder is on screen, then the best way to kill the Queen is to push her into the grinder, and that's not interesting. But yeah. So I played a lot of this, trying to find situations where you can consistently kill the Queen. It's very interesting. The Queen is such a strange enemy. She's very complicated, but not... that part is so annoying, that the collisions... Yeah, I want to play that anymore. I also have been playing like this a lot. No special reason, just that it's fun to see how well, it's nice to play against Amalgam and to look at the strategy of getting behind it and then swinging repeatedly. You can do if you do it correctly. If you do it correctly, you can do 2 swings before it gets... If you do it correctly, you can do 2 swings before she gets close. I couldn't do it there. But when you get behind, you just swing your sword on cooldown, and you can kill it very fast. Aye! Oh! Oh, yeah. I feel like I'm not making a good example. Maybe it's best that I stop. Anyways, yeah, I hope you have a good day.